over the last several years, people have always been constantly asking, how rare is my car? How rare is my Mark 1 Focus? And the obvious answer that anyone can give you is just go to that website called How Many Left. Now, most of you are very familiar with that website. It is ran by an enthusiast, and he basically will show you exactly how many of your particular specification are left on the roads. But with certain cars and on a Mark 1 Focus, there is a bit of a problem. Mark 1s were registered all the way into 2005, and in 2005, that's pretty much when you had Mark 2s registered as well, because the Mark 2 started to be registered towards the end of 2004. So there's a bit of a crossover, and with the ZTech LX and gear specifications in particular, there's a mix, and therefore you cannot give accurate estimations as to how many of those specifications are left on the roads. But that's when I had a very nice idea a couple of years ago to produce my own spreadsheet. Sounds absolutely riveting, I can tell you. But basically, the DFT statistics department, which is where the website How Many Left goes off, I actually went to them directly, and they have spreadsheets online where you can interpret the data. Be warned though, these spreadsheets are huge. You need a good computer to download them, or a decent laptop with lots of memory, and it's going to take you hours to interpret the data as it is and to make sense of it. So I thought, do you know what, I'll make my own spreadsheet which will be easy to interpret, that people can look at and think, okay, that's how many are left of my particular model. Now I can give numbers, accurate numbers, pretty much 98 to 99% accuracy, I will tell you that. I use a couple of algorithms to actually get the results that are required to get that sort of clear estimation. And now I can tell people in pretty good accuracy exactly how many of their Mark 1s are left, and I can tell you how many are left from a particular model year. So if you have a 2002 ZTech automatic, I can tell you how many of these are left. In this car, well, the latest data that has come out, which came out a couple of weeks ago, is 6 months old. It's always 6 months old. It's Q4 2022. So you've got Q1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're all spread out through the year. So as of Q4 2022, and we're talking January the 1st, 2023, essentially, there are over 1,053 ZTech automatics from 2002. I can give you that sort of information. And this is the spreadsheet now that I'm going to show you. Oof, right, back here. Now, there is one thing that I have to say before I go ahead and show you the spreadsheet. Now, I've done this sort of video before, so those of you who are familiar, just ignore what I'm going to say. But for those of you who are new to this, one thing that I cannot tell you is body styles. Now, if you want to find out how much of a particular body style, so let's say you've got a 3-door ZTech 2002 automatic, and you want to find out how rare is your car based on those facts. Okay, how rare is a 3-door versus a 5-door automatic, or the estate automatic, etc., or the saloon automatic? You get the picture. Now, on spreadsheets, the DFT do not give that sort of information, because there is such an amount of information they put on these spreadsheets, and I find it difficult to interpret a lot of what I'm receiving, let alone body styles on top of it, and colours. Can't do colours. Colours are not a particularly accurate way. It's an idea. But with Focus Mark 1s, there's very few colours that actually clash. I think there's 2 types of blue, so Metropolis blue and Tonic blue, but they'd both be down as blue on the logbook. So you wouldn't know which was which and how many of each are from a particular year. That's the problem. But if you've only got a single colour, so Panther black, there's no other black. So if it says black on the system, you know that it's a Panther black car. So if you understand a bit about Mark 1s or the car that you want to research, then that's a good starting point. And the truth is, body styles, if you want to find out about a body styles, just contact the DFT directly. I've done that with my own, and mine is one of out of 1,053 of those ZTech 2003 automatics. only 320 of them are 3 doors. So it kind of puts things into perspective a little bit more. So I found that out personally about my car, but there is an email. I'll try and find it and I'll stick it in the description or put a link to it. But anyway, let's go and look at the spreadsheet and I'll break it down nice and easy for you. Right, now, this is what we call an eyesight test. I'm only joking. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go around this whole spreadsheet. And this is most of the spreadsheet in question. Now, what I'm going to do is put this in a PDF form. And I'm going to put it on the Focus Mark 1 preservation group, okay, as a post. I'm going to put it on a couple of Focus Mark 1 groups. If you're into Focus Mark 1s and you're not on any of them groups, I don't know what you're doing, because pretty much everyone's on one of them groups. But anyway, what I wanted to show you in particular, and that this has been updated, so June 2003 Q4 data. Okay, now I just want to bring you in just a little bit there. That might help. In fact, it would help enormously. Now, what we have over here is the mainstream models. Okay, so we've got the CL, LX, ZTech, Gear, and ST170. They are the mainstream models that you'll find in most of the brochures. ST170 obviously from 2002. And we have the total number registered. That is the total number. And remember, we're talking about the UK statistics here. This whole video is on the UK numbers. I'm so sorry for people who live in the Isle of Man, or I can't actually add your totals in, or any Irish registrations. No, nothing like that. It's just the UK only. And as I say, these are the total registered, which kind of tallies up with what you'd expect. So, you know, the ST170, 12,673, which is quite low volume production. The CL poverty spec wasn't very popular, 56,415. And then the Gear, which was the expensive top of the range, 161,000, around about that. The LX, again, 205. That was to be expected on the LX. But the most popular one by a country mile is the ZTech, with 292,000 registered, leading a grand total of 700 and almost 729,000 mainstream models produced between 1998 and 2005 registered in the UK. That is an extraordinary number. Okay, and I'll take you down here. Okay, now on this side we've got the special models. Okay, so we have the Millennium model, we have the ZTech Collection, Black, Silver, Chick, and I've put the number of the year they were produced. They were predominantly produced within that year. There may be a slight difference. So Silver 2002. There were some silver cars produced at the end of 2001, but predominantly a 2002 special limited edition. And the rest of them are labelled down here. The RS, the Flight, which was the run-out model, the Edge, run-out model, Sport TDCi, nice car, the Ink, etc. All of them, they are listed here under special models. Okay, so I've done exactly the same as I've done up here with the total registered, and we've got the total registered down here. Now, believe it or not, only 940 Ford Focus Millenniums were actually registered in the UK. I know that there was more than that. There was around 1,009, but according to the DFT, there were only 940 registered in the UK. Okay. I don't know where the other 69 went. I've got to be honest with you. Potentially they're in Ireland, the Isle of Man, etc. But that is the data we are given, and the DFT data is like God's law, to be honest with you. It really is. ZTech Collection, well, we'll go for the total numbers, 940. And as some of you are probably looking at already, this is the total number that are currently registered on the road. Now, I will say one thing. This spreadsheet only focuses on the cars that are currently taxed on the road. Okay, currently registered and taxed on the road. What I mean by current registered is taxed. When they're SORNed, they're not part of this data. I will be doing data on the SORNed Mark 1s at some point in the next couple of years. But for now, Focus Mark 1 numbers are still exceptionally high for a car its age, which is a testament to how good they actually are. But if we look at these totals just in this section here, okay, so we have the total complete registered. As I say, all these totals kind of marry up to the original registered examples. So, 2009 examples of ST170s, they've survived pretty well compared to 2,788 of 56,000 CLs. They're not doing very well. The ZTechs remain the popular one to survive. The LXs are the LX and Gears are not too far behind. LXs have not fared well compared to the Gears. The Gears have done a bit better, and the percentages indicate how many of these, what percentage is left here from the total registered. So this 2009 is 15.85% of 12,673. So you get it. So there's 10.5% of that left of that, 8%, 8%, 4%. So the CLs are the worst surviving number. If you know someone with a CL, tell them to keep it. It's blooming rare. Focus in terms of the special limited editions, 51,000 were totally first registered. Now 7,000 left. Absolutely nothing. And these are very worrying statistics. The Millennium Focus, 51. That's all that's left on the roads. 51. Obviously there's some SORN, but not many, I can tell you. I think SORN data will be more relevant for some of these because they're so low, and I think that's quite important going forwards. The worst surviving special limited edition with 3.78% is the ZTech Collection with 129 left. As I say, I apologise, this is an eyesight test, but that's why I'm reading this out to you. Unbelievable. Ford Focus Black, not doing very well either. Chick, they're all quite low. The one that seems to do quite well are the Ink models, which is still a fair amount, 17%. The Flight and the Edge models are doing very well because they're the run-out models, they're younger models, so that's kind of how it is. But there are 15% of the special limited editions left of what's on the road compared to 8% of the mainstream models. So the special limited editions are doing very well. RS models, there's only 433 currently taxed, but I know for a fact, looking at the SORN data, there's about 1,000 SORNed. So we've got about 1,500 examples that survive of that 2,000 registered. As I say, Mark 1s do very, very well. Now, as we come over here, things get a bit more technical. Basically, we've got the variant totals over here. So basically, we start splitting each of these specifications up into little sections. So we have the petrol manual models down here. We have the automatic variants. You couldn't get the automatic on the CL. You couldn't get the automatic on the ST170. So the ones in yellow, you couldn't get them. They were not available. The 1.8 TDDI, which was all available on all the models apart from the ST170, obviously, because the ST170 was only available with the 2-litre petrol. 1. TDCI. Well, the TDCI was not available on the CL. You only got the TDDI and the ST170. And the bi-fuel models right at the end here, you could only get a 1.8 bi-fuel on an LX, ZTech and Gear, and they are the rarest of the bunch. They are factory-fitted bi-fuel LPG cars, and if you don't know how to identify one, they will have an LPG tank in the spare wheel well. It will not have a space saver spare wheel in the wheel well. It will have an LPG tank. You will identify it straight away. Most of them probably run on only petrol these days, because obviously LPG is kind of running out. They're trying to phase it out. So, sad times. Sad times. There's only 50 of them left in grand total. 50. So most of them tend to be ZTechs and LXs. And there's 5 gear bi-fuels. So we've split the specifications up. So we've got the Gears and then ZTech LXs. My automatic ZTech is doing very well. It's in a 6,228. 25% of them are left. So the automatics are doing very well, and that's what's showing the data here. The percentages tell me a lot of facts. But basically, this total here, 62,899, is what is split here. So 45,000 of them are petrol manuals, which is 72%. So 72% are petrol manuals. 19% left are automatics. 2.71% TDDIs. 5.52% are TDCI, a bit better, and 0.08 are very, very rare biofuel models. You get the picture. So you could find your model within this section, okay, to give you a rough picture of how many of your model are left. So if you have a 1.8 TDDI CL model, it'll be one of 368 left. That's a percentage of 13% of them are left. So basically it adds up. So 86.80% are petrol manuals, the 1.4 or the 1.6. You could get either, but the 1.4s are pretty much 90% of them are 1.4s. You only get the 1.6 CL on the estate version. The rest are the TDDI diesels. So you get the picture. All these percentages add up to 100% because this is 100% representing that. Okay, so that number is stripped down into that. These numbers are stripped down here. Okay, now we're going to go to the next section. No variant breakdowns, because most of these special limited editions would have had a 1.6 Sigma ZTech SE engine or 1.8 litre ZTech engine. As denoted here, I've put the available engines on the side, and most of these special limited editions like the Millennium and the Collection, they'd have only had 1.8 ZTechs. Again, I do apologise, you probably can't read this, but again, this PDF file will be available through the clubs, and I will make very certain that it's available for people to see. Now, there's a bit where it says engine table. Now, I have got an engine table, but it's not very good at the moment because I'm afraid the DFT statistics are very complicated when it comes to splitting the engine numbers. So, like I said, with the CL up here, okay, the majority of them I know are 1.4 petrols, but some of them are 1.6 petrols. Now, the DFT will give me information about how to split that number to basically give you a percentage of possibly how many are left with that particular engine. But that's very complicated, and even I struggled doing that. I have done it before, but it wasn't accurate and I wasn't happy with it. So my decision to delay telling people those numbers, my idea is if you want to find out of how many of your particular engine, body style, colour are left, email the DFT directly. I want to give you good, accurate information, and at the moment, their spreadsheets are not very good when it comes to engine data. I'm sure it's accurate, but it's interpreting it, and it's too much time for me. I think you can appreciate that. But current variant totals, the only one with two different power plants, petrol and diesel, the 1.8 TDCI, is the Edge model. Because on the Edge model, there were 15,098 produced, 2,972 are still on the roads today, which is a good almost 20% left because it's the later models. Now, 90% of them are petrols, which would be, I think, the 1.8 litre petrol. I'm pretty certain about that. It might be the 1.6 as well. I think the 1.6 and 1.8 is what is represented by that. However, there are only 296 Edge models with the TDCI diesel engine, representing less than 10%. Very, very rare indeed. So that's kind of what the picture shows you. And to be honest with you, I'm just going to move you down here to summarise. The total registered, now this is 780,529 UK registered Mark 1s between those 6 golden generation years. I call them 6 golden years because most great cars were made between the mid-noughties and mid-90s. Anyway, the current registered, 70,660. That takes a total from that and that. And that's what gets me that. And that is 100% accurate, guys. Percentage registered, or 99.9%, you know how it is. The percentage still registered today is 9% of what was originally registered. That is the survival rate of Mark 1s in the UK. Fascinating, isn't it? And these are the results that I've previously put in. So this is the latest one, Q4. So I've inputted that data into this little graph. And this is to show you how it's gone. I should put these into a graph instead of a table. But last year, well, a year ago, this is Q4 2022 because the data is 6 months behind. We're beyond this now. We're halfway over this now. But Q4 2021, a year earlier, we had not almost 94,000 on the roads. It's now dropped by 23,000 to that. In 1 year, 23,000 Mark 1s have gone forever. Right, I'm just going to quickly show you this before we finish. Now, this is my raw data for Ford Focus Mark 1s, okay? And what I mean by raw data, this is basically how I tell you how many are left per year. So, Ford Focus CL petrol manuals. If you got a 2002 one, it was manufactured in 2002, registered. First used means registered in 2002. There are 781 taxed. There are 578 sawned. I can get you that sort of information. As I say, body styles, colours, engines, they're out at the moment, apart from the diesels. So we've got the diesel models as well. We've got, the Ebony was the special limited edition. There was about 9 of them left from 2002. That's very rare. There's only 1 of them taxed from 2004. This is absolutely priceless information. Oh, this is priceless. Absolutely priceless. There's a fella that's driving a Focus LX with the LPG bi-fuel conversion manufactured and registered in 2000 and probably an X-plate. There's only 1 of them left. And the old fella probably doesn't know he's driving one. Incredible. Yeah. I'm going to put this on a PDF on the Mark 1 preservation group as well, and I will put it as a PDF on the other groups if the admins will allow me to post. These are the grand totals on the road. Taxed, sawned, 47,000. So there are 127,000 left on the road. Sad, isn't it? It really doesn't make me very happy to be a Mark 1 owner and see some of these facts. But the truth is, Mark 1s survive in much greater numbers than any other car this age. I don't think there's any other car that compares, to be honest with you. Yeah, if I got the statistics for VW Golf Mark 4s, that will be really, really interesting. But I have absolutely no time and effort for that car whatsoever. Very overrated and nowhere near as good as a Mark 1. The Mark 5 was a bit better in some respects, but not others. It looks fat and bloated, and I think there's less Mark 5 Golfs on the road than Mark 4s. Mark 4s are a bit more of a classic look, whereas Mark 5s just haven't caught on unless they're completely modified. The truth is, the reason that I started the preservation group with a bunch of like-minded enthusiasts, and a lot of the emphasis on my channel is to try and not break these cars as much as possible and to try and keep as many of them on the roads. I may want to grab one of my own. I may buy one that's absolutely rotten and strip it for as many bits as I can, because that might be my intention long term. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but it does make me think that I need a donor car. And I do think that those of you who have a Mark 1 who want to keep one long term, a donor car might be a good option if you have the money. If you don't worry about it. There's plenty of parts around. But if you want your own supply, it might be worth thinking about if you're willing to take one on that is not repairable. I will say, I do not condone people buying cars to be a donor car that could be repaired. Now, the truth is, any car can be repaired, but it's a cost of money. And I think if I saw one that was completely and utterly rotten on the sills, the arches, and it was dangerous to drive, basically, it would need a few £1,000s worth of welding, that is absolutely appropriate and something that I will look at. But everything else, it's not appropriate. The second thing that I'm going to make a comment on now, and I'm going to be very straight and honest when I say this, and I'm going to be very fair to people, because I don't think there's a clear-cut answer to this, to be honest. But the joint second rarest Mark 1 on the roads today is the very coveted ZTech Collection, which is a beautiful, beautiful car. Those bumpers look so good. I don't know why they didn't just mass produce it. I mean, with those mesh grills on the back and the lovely front bumper that comes with it, it has been a popular modification for standard mainstream models for many years to have had ZTech Collection bumpers put on them. I mean, there were 3,412 ZTech Collections first registered, so there's an awful lot of cars that down the years have worn these bumpers. They are very collectible. They are very desirable. When I was messing with my own 6, 7 years ago, I was looking at them, and that's how good they are. Um, the truth is, it's historically a thing for people to put ZTech Collection bumpers on their Mark 1, and they look really good in them. But I think in 2023 now, if your Focus does not have these bumpers fitted and you're considering to put some on your car, there's only really one way that I would consider that appropriate. And that is if the bumpers have already been stripped off a ZTech Collection. That's it. The truth is, there's always going to be a demand for these bumpers. And it's a real shame because that 129, that's going to halve. I'm pretty damn certain we're only going to have about 30, 40 of them left probably, before it gets to the point where people say, no, you leave my car alone. No one's having these bumpers. Now, over the years, generically, Mark 1 values have been at rock bottom until the last year or so. And most often, when people see a ZTech Collection car, it has generically been the way that the bumpers can be sold for more than the rest of the car in value. You could probably sell a good front and back set for about 300, maybe £400. And that would be almost the cost of, way more than the cost of actually scrapping a Mark 1. So it was an easy way of making money, particularly if they had a ZTech Collection. It's completely rotten. It's failed the MOT. They've had offers on the breaker's yard for like 200 quid. And the bumpers are worth about 300, 350, maybe a bit more than that if they're in good condition. So why not get rid of them? And that's why a lot of these have worked their way onto a lot of Mark 1s, because there is a demand for them. But I do think that the only appropriate use of them now in the situation of a car, if you're looking to put one on your Mark 1, is if they're already available. If they have already been stripped off a ZTech Collection that has already been broken, absolutely fine. But people going out of their way to break one for the bumpers, that is wrong. That's totally wrong. I mean, I'm not going to go around and look at someone's car and say, yeah, you see that guy with those that Focus with Collection bumpers? I bet you a car has died. A car has died to give him them bumpers. He has literally caused the death of a car. I'm not going to do that. That's childish. That is. Come on. How can you point at a car and prove anything? At the end of the day, it's a market. The parts are there, and that's absolutely fine. But I think in 2023, if your car does not, if it isn't a ZTech Collection, leave them alone. Leave them alone. There's 129 models there. There's not many of them left. Just leave them alone. I've no doubt that there is less than them now because this data is quite old. But there's plenty of Mark 1s now where they have these bumpers fitted. And if you've got one, good job, because they look amazing. They do look absolutely amazing. But I do think it's not appropriate no more for people to be deliberately stripping what could be a very repairable ZTech Collection. Let's say you've got a ZTech Collection that somebody is selling and it needs a little bit of welding on the sills and it needs some money spending on it because they're all very tired cars now. You know, we're talking about 2000, 2001 registrations here, this special limited edition. So they're 22, 23 years old. They're going to need work. And I would like to think that somebody would buy that car and restore it or look after it and not think, brilliant, we've got a car here that I can buy for absolutely nothing, for scrap value, £400 right at the bottom, and I can make that money back at least on the bumpers, and then let's have a look at the leather interior. There's your problem. It's wrong. Doing that is completely and utterly wrong. Sometimes when I go to a show, I do get the sense that because it's such a common modification, that it's just another Mark 1 that wears ZTech Collection bumpers. And it does have an element of that, sadly. But you don't know. The thing is, I don't know the circumstances in which somebody got these bumpers. Most of you who've bought them for your Ford Focus Mark 1s in the past have most probably just bought them off eBay because they've already been taken off the car. In that case, it's your good luck. So I don't judge like that. I think people need, as I say, I'm not making a judgmental comment there, but it really is sad that there is just one particular model that has survived so poorly because of one issue. And I think it just needs to stop. So this is a bit of a spread out. If you know someone who's got a ZTech Collection, tell them, don't break it, keep it, sell it to someone who will look after it, because they are worth something now. I think a good one of them is worth a couple of grand now, at least. So anyway, I'm going to leave this video here on a really good note, and because I keep getting asked at shows, I have made these lovely channel cards up. So yeah, supporting my Ford and Rover theme. It should make sure that people know how to find me. So instead of people asking me and I can't help, I'm usually Fixing and Tinkering is my channel, and people are like, oh, could you put that in my phone? Oh, it's all right, I'll give you a card now. So it makes it easier for me now at shows. So anyway, up and beyond, I am also having some limited stickers made. I am only going to make a small batch of about 25 to 50 channel stickers, and I think I'm getting some Mark 1 Preservation Group stickers made for the group, because I know for a fact that there are a small amount of people who will want them on their cars, and when I do put them on mine, I'm bound to show you. And if you want one, well, a few quid, a bit of postage, and they're all yours. And if you have a Mark 1, it will look nice. If you're part of the group, go for it. Anyway, you take care, guys, and look after your Mark 1s. Seriously, they're really dying.